In 1922, an archaeological team found the entrance to the tomb of an ancient Egyptian king. The expedition, backed by Lord Carnarvon and headed by Howard Carter, had found one of the least plundered tombs of a pharaoh ever discovered. The Sphinx stands guard over Thebes, capital of Old Egypt. The Valley of Kings, burial ground of Egyptian royalty, an inhospitable place this, a place where only death lives. Over 3,000 years ago, a boy king was buried here, a king then of little importance, Tutankhamun. Although robbers had already plundered the burial chamber, they hadn't yet reached the mummy. For thousands of years, these priceless objects had lain here. Other royal tombs had been completely stripped, but fate had protected the dead king. And so today we're able to see part of a civilization vastly different to ours. A child's chair and footstool made especially for the king. A model boat intended for the king's journey to the afterlife and the child king's toys. A minor monarch who reigned until he mysteriously died at the age of 18. And now, for the first time, some of the treasures of Tutankhamun's tomb are being flown to London. A priceless load, insured by the British for many millions of pounds. They were to be shown at the largest and most important museum in Britain, the British Museum. One of the most beautiful items, an oblong golden shrine in a stylized fashion dating back about 3,300 years. A wooden statue of the king, one of a pair, which originally stood guard on either side of the tomb's third door. Her Majesty the Queen, who opened the exhibition, shows great interest in the boy king whose reign began 1,300 years before the birth of Christ. This is the bed of the divine cow, made of gilded wood. It was never used by the king, but was part of the funeral equipment found near the royal body. Carved from a single block of alabaster, this stopper comes from a canopic chest which held certain of the king's internal organs. The Queen looks at this vulture collar of gold and polychrome glass decorated with finely chased obsidian. It's purely for funereal use and very different from jewelry worn in life. Religious superstition and the worship of animals were inexorably entwined and led to extensive use in personal adornments. Daggers like this were reserved for royalty because, made of gold, it was supposed to bring power to the wearer. As Howard Carter stepped his way into the past, objects like this ivory headrest were revealed. A floral vase in alabaster intended for sweet-smelling unguents. A lotiform chalice personally used by Tutankhamun, carved from one piece of alabaster. This ceremonial fan was found on the floor of the burial chamber, its ostrich feathers virtually devoured by insects. These remarkable exhibits make time stand still. The Queen looks at objects already old before the birth of Christ. A Senate gaming board for use in the afterlife. Little is known of the game, except that it was very popular with the king while he was alive. The box is veneered with ebony, while the squares on top are inlaid with ivory. One of the most outstanding pieces on show is the ornamented chest. Its design shows the main architectural elements of the standard Egyptian shrine. The chest probably held some of the king's ceremonial robes. Made some 3,500 years ago, the workmanship stands up well to anything created today. A gilded wooden figure of Tutankhamun wearing the white crown of Upper Egypt. The purpose of the figure remains unexplained, and nothing in Egyptian mythology sheds any light on it. This one represents the king wearing the crown of Lower Egypt with sandals, a pleated skirt and a bead collar. The ears are pierced. The wearing of earrings was a custom confined to young princes who discontinued it when they reached manhood. One of the most famous items on show, a mask of pure burnished gold inlaid with semi-precious stones and lapis lazuli. The modern queen looks at the face of an ancient king who departed this life thousands of years before the Roman or British empires were founded. Oil. The vulture's head symbolizes sovereignty over Upper Egypt and the cobra over Lower Egypt. It's ironic to think that Tutankhamun, a minor king, is more widely known today than over 3,000 years ago when he ruled over the land of the pharaohs.